Hello, I'm Kent Voigt. My family and I have lived in Troy for over 35 years. And over those years, we've watched the city grow from a small suburban bedroom community into a major player in the metropolitan Detroit economy. It came as no surprise to me that CNN and Money magazine recently named Troy the most livable city in Michigan and among the top 25 most livable cities in the nation. As I talked with my neighbors, I found most of them like the city, agree with CNN and Money magazine's rating, but have little understanding as to what it takes to keep the city so livable. I didn't know either, so I decided to find out and then share what I discovered with them and with you. I started with the question most taxpayers consider when they pay their property tax bills. What do I get for the money and fees I pay to the city? The answer I found is a little bit complex. For example, I learned the average property tax bill in Troy is about $4,300 per year. Of that, the city receives only about $1,150 to cover its operations and services. That means only about 26 cents of each property tax dollar goes to the city. So where, I wondered, does the rest of the money go? I soon found out it goes to the school districts, the Oakland County government, the regional transit system, Oakland Community College, and the state of Michigan. Since this is true, I wondered, why does the city collect the money as well as its own? The answer made sense. Troy collects property taxes on behalf of all of the other taxing authorities and passes the funds on to them because it reduces collection costs. And it eliminates the confusion that could result if every agency collected their portion of taxes independently. I then examined the city's portion of property taxes and found out our tax rate is 9.28 mills. It's one of the lowest in Michigan. A mill, by the way, is $1 for every $1,000 in assessed property value, which is generally about half what the average sale price of the home would be. Knowing how Troy gets its money was interesting, but it still didn't answer my basic question. What do the citizens get for their money? To answer that, I looked at the funding areas in the city budget. I began with what they call infrastructure. Infrastructure includes streets, water and sewer systems, public signs, traffic signals, city buildings, including police and fire stations, the library, the community center, city hall, the museum, and all of the parks and open space areas, as well as pavement markings, street signs, and all other physical assets of the city. Troy's annual financial report indicates the value of the city's infrastructure is over $333 million. These are assets that must be maintained to protect the investment in them, and a portion of our property taxes is used to do just that. Speaking of infrastructure, did you know that Troy has over 440 miles of streets? To put a little perspective on that number, consider this. If every street in the city was placed end to end in a straight line, it would stretch from Troy to Marquette in the Upper Peninsula. Wow, imagine having to clear all of them after a winter snowstorm. That is infrastructure maintenance. Speaking of roads, I also discovered that responsibility for maintaining major streets in the city like Big Beaver, Livernois, Crooks, John R. DeQuinder, Long Lake, and Maple goes to the Road Commission of Oakland County. Now that explains why county trucks are often seen fixing some of the roads in Troy. Roads are only some of Troy's rights of way. The city owns and maintains 938 miles of sanitary and storm sewer lines, and another 538 miles of water lines. Along the water lines are 5,782 city-owned fire hydrants that must be regularly inspected and tested to guarantee the fire department has quick access to water when and where they need it. Troy owns 1,558 streetlights and pays a monthly charge on another 564 that are owned and maintained by DTE Energy. The city owns 14 parks, of which 880 acres are developed with sports and play areas, trails, and picnic facilities. There are 2 golf courses, 18 tennis courts, a nature center farm, a community center, and an aquatics complex. Other major assets include a police station, 6 fire stations, and 1 police fire training center. But I hear somebody say, well, what about services? Troy pays salary and benefits to 440 full-time employees and another 400 or so part-time and seasonal employees. These are the individuals that bring the city to the community in terms of services. In terms of specific services, let's start with the fire department. Troy is unique for its size in that it has a volunteer fire department. There are 12 full-time fire staff employees who do planning, permitting, inspections, and training. The department's annual budget is $4.3 million, compared to the $16.8 million fire services budget in a similar-sized neighboring city with full-time firefighters. The $12.5 million savings permits Troy to acquire the latest firefighting technology, thus making it one of the best equipped departments in the area. I wonder how effective a volunteer fire department can be. Well, I found out Troy, with its extensive training program for volunteers, is one of only 12 cities in the state of Michigan that has a fire rating classification of 3, which is excellent. Only the city of Detroit has a higher classification. A fire rating classification of 3, incidentally, in addition to the safety factor, means property owners often receive a reduction in their property insurance premiums of as much as 8%. In addition to Troy's selection as the most livable city in Michigan, it also has the distinction of being the safest city in the state and among the 25 safest cities over 75,000 in population in the United States.
911 emergency.
Troy's 911 service makes police as near as your telephone. In addition, the department maintains regular patrols around businesses and through neighborhoods. They also provide crime prevention training to citizens, business employees, and school groups. The city contracts with a paramedic ambulance service to assure quick response to accidents and other medical emergencies. You may have seen some of the quick responder trucks strategically placed throughout the city. These units are supported by ambulances as needed. The bottom line for citizens is fire, police, and medical services in Troy are available and effective. While talking ratings, it should be mentioned that Troy has the 2nd highest rated library in Michigan, and the city's fleet maintenance division is rated 2nd best in North America. Having seen some of what I get for my money, I decided to step back and look at how the money is handled. For this fiscal year of July 1st, 2008 to June 30th of 2009, the city's budget is $152,804,940. The city breaks this down into various funds. The budget for the general fund, for example, is $64.4 million. Now, this is the fund that pays for police, fire, streets, finance expenses, parks and recreation, library, museum, engineering, planning, building inspection, and administration. The enterprise fund's budget covers services that generate sufficient revenue to cover their annual expenditures. Included in this area are water and sewer expenses and the purchase of water and wastewater treatment by the City of Detroit. Also included is the Aquatic Center and the city's 2 golf courses. The Capital Projects and Special Assessment Fund is budgeted at $30.8 million. This money goes for road construction, water and sewer line maintenance and reconstruction, improvements to city buildings, purchase of equipment, and other physical improvements. The budget includes $9.5 million in special revenues that come from payments by other governments to cover their share of road improvement costs. Other money in the account goes into a fund to stabilize the budget, and to pay the costs of putting on Troy Days, the city's annual festival. Money in this fund also goes to pay the cost of refuse removal and recycling expenses. The city contracts with a sanitation company to haul away 44,637 tons of citizen trash each year, and 8,000 tons of compost material. The last fund is just over $13.8 million. It covers costs such as unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, and the accrued costs of built-up sick leave and vacation time for city employees. The fund pays the costs of the Building and Operations Division that takes care of city facilities, the Information Technology Department, and the Fleet Maintenance Division. Just a side note, the Fleet Maintenance Division not only maintains cars and trucks belonging to Troy, but they also bring in revenue by maintaining fleets of the cities of Birmingham, Clawson, the Troy School District, and other neighboring entities. After reviewing the budget, it's interesting to note the total per home tax needed to cover these services is about $1,159 per year. The CNN Money magazine article indicates Troy residents have a median income of $114,094. This means the owner of the average priced home in Troy spends about 1% of their income to pay their property tax bill. Businesses also pay property taxes in varying amounts based on their footprint in the city. The balance between homeowner and business property tax payments is this. Troy's residential property owners pay about 58%, or $88.6 million of the property tax collections, while the Troy business community funds about 42%, or $64.2 million of the budget. Now, I've heard some folks say that any money spent on government is wasted. Well, I don't like paying taxes either, but considering the services I get for them, I can hardly say the money is wasted. To leave no stone unturned, however, I decided to approach my property taxes as an investment. I wanted to see if there was any financial return on the amount I was putting into the city. The results surprised me. Following some internet surfing, I found a study by the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania that was very, very interesting. It said a park within a quarter to a half mile of a home boosts the property's value by 25%. It also said living reasonably close to a well-maintained commercial area boosts property value by another 20%. Study also said well-kept neighborhoods where the city enforces building and residential codes, conducts regular inspections, and maintains the infrastructure yield significantly higher property values. Add highly regarded emergency services and property values soar. Reality says it takes money to create, maintain, and develop the most livable and safest city in Michigan. When I write a property tax check, I remind myself what I'm getting for my money, and that eases the strain every time. If you have questions or would like more information about Troy's budgets, services, and opportunities, call, visit the city's website, or stop by City Hall.